What's up, guys? It's Kyle at Fortune Off-Road. We got something fun that we just picked up for the Jeep. I don't know if you guys remember. We were trying to do a doubler for a long time, and I said, if I find this, I'll skip the doubler and I'll buy that instead. Oh! So it was just a few months ago, we were doing some snow wheeling. The crawl ratio with the Jeep wasn't as good as I want it to be in the snow, especially when we went up to a 39.5-inch tire. I put the 38s back on, but we still have the same issue with our crawl ratio. It's like 54-to-1, it's not great. In a video of that snow wheeling, I said, if I found one of these, it'd make a huge difference. If we could slow it down, I think we'd do a lot better. Like if we had a doubler or even, you know, like a 5-to-1 Atlas in here, and we could just go a little bit slower. So I did. I found a 5-to-1 Atlas that was for sale in my area. You know, it's like an hour away, so it's not too bad. And it was for a TJ, so I knew it was going to bolt up to my AX15, twin sticked and everything. You know, I wanted the manual lever shifters, not the cable ones, so I got it. We're going to start getting this thing installed, see what kind of custom work we have to do to the shifters and everything, and then we'll have to order some new drive shafts and test her out. So here is the reason why we took it off. This part of the transmission support was hitting the transfer case, so I couldn't tighten it all the way up against the transmission. That looked like it was the only part touching. Went a little bit further that way just in case. And then once I took this off, I see that this thing's been modified, at least welded together once. Got this bead right here that somebody else did, and then there were some new cracks forming, which I filled in there and there, and then hit right there and there. I mean, honestly don't know if that's going to be enough to keep it from cracking, but don't have enough time to make another one right now, so we'll see how it holds up. We'll check up on it. Yeah, part of me thinks that that Atlas is just gonna thrash this mount because it's gonna put all that extra torque on there, but might have to make our own. We'll see. But I'm gonna put it back together, and then we'll work on getting the drive shafts, one lengthened, the other cut. We'll install it and see how this 5-to-1 is. I'm actually pretty excited about it. Right, it's been very difficult to record a lot of this because it's so tight. The clearance is under the Jeep, but this is where we're at. So one thing that has been absolutely critical in this is that I kept a 1-inch body lift on the Jeep. If I didn't have that, we would have some serious issues with the clearance. Now, I took a 3-inch spacer out of the skid plate. The skid plate's in the stock configuration. It's much more clearance this way, but that's pushed the transfer case all the way up against the tub, and it's really tight. So you saw a clip of me getting the transmission mount out. I had to chop it up because the transfer case was hitting against that transmission mount. It wouldn't let me mount it all the way to the transmission. And then as I had that out, I was cleaning it up and I saw there was a couple cracks in there. So thinking that's going to be a problem. My welds aren't going to solve that, so that's something I'm going to have to keep an eye on. What I ended up doing is just cutting the twin sticks off of this bracket that goes down to the controls here, and I just cut them up, welded them up, and now they're pretty much a straight throw. The hardest part is getting everything threaded on right here. I had to take these snap rings off to get these threaded. I don't even know what the heck these things are called, but to get these off, it took a really long time. You can see this one's pretty tight on there. I'll show you what it looks like on the inside. So my goal here was to make sure that the rear one and the front one don't line up right next to each other, and I wanted them to be low but also close to the driver, so I didn't have to like really lean down to go get them. And you'll see they're pretty much a straight throw. The issue I have right now is this boot is connected to the same boot that the transmission shifter uses. This boot comes with only one hole right here, so I just slid it so now I can use both. And I ordered a twin stick boot that I've seen some people just set it down on top of here, and then it has a different boot for each one of these. We'll see how that works. This is my first Atlas, so I'm not 100% sure if my adjustments are gonna work or not. I don't have the drive shafts with me right now. Just dropped them off at Sacramento Driveline. Pick those up in a few days, and that'll be the real fun part, to see the 5-to-1 in action and to see if I did a good job of putting everything together. So right now, I've just got it in 2-wheel drive high, so rear and high. If I put both of them in neutral, it looks like that. And I didn't want them to be like right next to each other. I want to always have this one a little bit forward, just so it'll be a reminder that this one is the front axle. The front one's probably about an inch lower than the rear, just, you know, to have that muscle memory, to where when I'm doing things quickly, I don't have to worry about it. So if I was going to go into low, that's rear and low, front and low. I ended up having to bend both of these towards the driver's side so it didn't hit the transmission shifter. That's second gear, plenty of room. First gear up there. So they're both in low right now. That's just front and low, so like front dig. Now they're both in neutral. And then we do rear and high. That's how we're gonna have it most of the time driving around. And then if we wanted to do 4 high, that's what it'd look like. So pretty excited about this. Definitely need to clean some stuff up. Put this goofy, really long gear shifter on here, and I actually like it, but I kind of want to get back to the ball grip, so I ordered just a regular 5-speed ball grip. And then I've got these labeled down there, so we're really close. We're almost there. One of the problems with swapping out anything like that on the Atlas is they take a really nice and expensive gear oil. So I'm getting ready to top that off right now. I'm going to add some fluid to it. Next step after that will be waiting for our shift boot, new knobs, and then get our drive shafts. Oh man. So here's the gear oil that was recommended to put in there, 75 W90 API-GL4. Supposed to be good stuff. Sure was expensive, so I believe it. Just spilled a bunch all over myself. And the sight tube is still not there. It's still not at half, but I'm gonna wait till we run it. I'll run it a little bit, see if the fluid changes. I probably put a quarter of this quart in there, maybe a little bit less. We'll see how it looks after we do our test run. Got my little twin stick boot here. We're gonna just try to lay that on top of the current one in there and see if it takes up that gap. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we'll see. And then we got a new shift knob for the transmission. Actually, it feels pretty dang solid. I don't know what the thread pitch is or what. Might have to just weld a new one on there or get an adapter. Now it'll be all the way labeled. It'll be foolproof for anyone driving the Jeep. We got the twin sticks labeled in the transmission, so no excuses. Actually, there are a lot of excuses to having a hard time driving the Jeep. It's really hard to get into first gear. Kind of one of those things you need to have planned out. You need to roll and then have some pressure on it to get in first gear. But anyways, we'll just tell somebody it's their fault, not mine. What I need to get is a couple nuts to put on there to snug up against here so I don't have to over tighten them. All right, let's see if these fit on there. One. So that's not too bad for just sliding over, help keep the dust out and, make it so I can't see down there to the transmission. The way I have these staggered a little bit is kind of stretching it out. So this is in 2-wheel drive rear high right now. There's both in neutral, and then it's 2 low, and then 4 low looks like that. So for just sliding a cheap boot over there, I'd say it's not bad. Later on, see if I can come up with a better idea that maybe is a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, but that'll do just fine. So I actually have 2 NP 231s to sell now. I was originally going to do a 231 doubler, and then finally I realized it wasn't going to work because I didn't have enough space. The Atlas, where it kind of mounts up to the transmission right here, it's just flat across here, and then the yoke comes out. So you can see why that front drive shaft needed to be a little bit shorter, because the yoke's closer to the axle. And then in the back, we had the opposite problem. Case just isn't as long, then it's flat in the back. We had to get that one lengthened. I got 2 cases, so if you know anyone that wants one. One I bought, I've never ran. Just gonna rebuild it and use it as a doubler. And the other one has been in my Jeep this whole time. It's been working great. And inside my messy garage, I've got the Kingpin Dana 60 and a Sterling 10 1/4 long pinion that I got for free. So those two combined, the Jeep, it's gonna be awesome one day. My thrashed garage, trying to get the Samurai long. I'm still working on it, it's just going slow. All right, let's get into my work truck here. No big deal. Just got a little fuel pump and some soda and my new drive shafts. All right, so this front drive shaft, we had to shorten it to fit with the Atlas. And then the rear drive shaft, we had to extend it. But it's cool that we have a bunch of extra room on the rear now. That's gonna help out when we do our 1-ton swap way down the line. Hopefully this is the last time I get these drive shafts changed until then, because this is like the 3rd time I've changed the length of this one and the 2nd time I've changed the length of this one, I believe. So I went to Driveline of Sacramento that I've been going to lately. These guys are awesome. They're really easy to work with, good prices. One time I took a drive shaft there and they rebuilt it and it was ready for pickup the next day, which I thought was crazy. These ones took a week, but no complaints. Hopefully I measured right. I'm gonna go throw them on right now and then we'll do this test drive with the Atlas finally. All right, we got the drive shafts installed. We've got all of our shift knobs put in place, and you see the Jeep is really dirty with all the stuff falling off this tree, so we're gonna have to wash it here in a second. But before we do that, let's take a look at everything and then we'll compare what's close to the previous crawl ratio and then our new crawl ratio, so you can see the difference. And then hopefully I'll figure out how to do picture in picture, so it's kind of like at the same time. We'll see how awesome it is. That is what the sticks look like from the side. Finally got the lock nuts on there, so these knobs will stay in the right orientation. Got our new 5-speed 8-ball up there, and that's pretty much it. So in a second here, I'm gonna get this thing started up so we can take a look at the crawl ratio. There's the new shortened drive shaft. Something that I think I didn't mention earlier is that this yoke output on the Atlas is actually a CV style yoke. So what I ended up doing is getting some U-bolts to go through it. So what I think is a much better connection, stronger connection. See some of the linkage up there. And then in the back, we've got our new drive shaft back there. So nothing too crazy. Basically just replace the transfer case. Not a whole lot of slip left, especially for the compression, I mean, right here in the drive shaft. And that is in case I decide to go back to a normal yoke on there. It's probably gonna be a little bit shorter, which we'll need that extra room for. I already flexed this thing out pretty good. It doesn't look like there's gonna be any binding issues using that yoke. So yeah, I think we're in a good spot. Wire wrapped around here and a broken one here. This accidentally busted off. This is rock lights that are just under the sliders right there, so no big deal. Yeah, I should probably make sure that this speedometer is working, but yeah, everything looks pretty good. No leaks. Normally with the Atlas, you want, I believe it's 2 quarts of fluid in there. This would normally be like half full. I put some in there and drove it around for a second, and then this is what it's looking like right now. I mean, it's not half the tube, but if you have too much fluid in there, it'll just spit it out the top of the vent tube, and if you don't have enough, probably won't know, and it just won't be good. So I'm gonna err on the side of safety and put a little bit more in there. appears to be working. Driven it in high range a bit. Speedometer's working. Driven it in low range a fair amount, and it's working. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm gonna have an opportunity to test it out before we do our next trail run. I would like to just go do a little bit of rock crawling before I get on some really hard obstacles, but that's okay. That's how it goes sometimes. So hope you liked the video. If you got any questions about the Atlas, you think there might be something I forgot, let me know. I'm gonna try to post a few reels about this also, because when I was on YouTube and Instagram, I was just searching Atlas 5:1 and 100:1 crawl ratio, things like that, to see what it was gonna be like, if the juice was worth the squeeze, all that. For me, I always want more. I want more crawl ratio and I want more options. Unfortunately, with the 5:1, I only have one option, and that's 5:1. It would be cool to have like 3.8 or 4.3 and then a doubler option, but we're talking serious money. Never thought I would be able to afford an Atlas to put in my cheap Jeep, but sometimes it works out. This time it did, and I'm thankful that I have that. So I'm just gonna count my blessings and be happy with the 5:1. So stay tuned. We've got a Molina Ghost Run coming up in a few weeks. That's a lot of fun every year, and looking forward to trying the Jeep out. So thanks for checking out the video. See you guys in the next one.